Hi, good evening. Please check out this book called The Guidelines for Being a Good Person. We turn to page 3 to read and revise what we have learned for the past week. From number 41 all the way to number 64. Okay. We start. When our parents love us, it is easy to be respectful and loving. When they do not love us, respecting and loving them means we have a noble heart. If our parents do something wrong, we should urge them to change. Do so with a kind expression and caring voice. Should our parents not accept our advice, try again when they are in a better mood. If they still do not listen, our sincere tears will show them how deeply we care. Should they get angry with us, do not hold it against them. When our parents are ill, we should make sure that they take the right medicine. Care for them night and day, and do not leave them alone. For 3 years after our parents' passing, we should remember them in sadness. We should live simply and not adorn our home, avoid merrymaking, meat, and alcohol. We should arrange our parents' funeral in a proper manner. We should always honor them as if they were still alive, and especially on the anniversary of their deaths, remember them with a sincere heart. Okay, thank you. So last week we talked about if we compromise our virtue, that will worry our parents. And if we injure ourselves, that will also worry our parents. So we must always take care of our physical wellness, and also should not do things that will shame our parents. We also talk about when our parents have faults, we should advise them to change. And if they do not change, we should persuade again until they will listen to us. And we should do it with a gentle voice and a very gentle expression. Now, I think this is actually quite hard, isn't it? Because when we get angry, it's hard to look gentle and soft. When we get angry, our whole face becomes dark. And when two people get angry, nobody will listen to each other. So it is at times like this, it is important to cool down and think about some of the examples in the past, how these people actually managed to keep cool and think long terms. Now, we have just passed Mother's Day. By the way, happy belated Mother's Day. I hope you had a great celebration. I'm sure flowers, gifts, dinners, or lunch. I'm sure you have one of those. But I think the best gifts were to be from your children. If they say to you, "I love you, Mom," and thank you. So equally, I hope you have told your mom that thank you for all the years that you have put up with me. I always heard that people say you will only understand how a mother thinks when you become a mother. So you will never understand the things a mother has to go through until you become a mother. So for you who are a mother, have you experienced it now? You fully understand what it means to be a mother. And I should hope that every day is a Mother's Day. And not just during Mother's Day, then we remember our mother. Do you know that Mother's Day, the celebration, other than reminding us the importance of mother, it's also quite a big economic activity. You know, I heard that in the United States, this day alone, all the economic activities involved, the Americans will spend about $600 million. Roughly that, I believe it was that figure, okay? Which means that everything goes up on that day. Flowers are more expensive, and you have to do bookings, and maybe going to trips, okay, buying special gifts, all this all together, okay? I think perhaps because we have forgotten mother most of the time, so we try to make it up on that day. Same with Valentine's Day, because we forget our spouse, we forget our, to be nice to our baby boyfriend or girlfriend, so we make it up on Valentine's Day. So every Valentine's Day, also the same. Maybe one rose will go up to $30, $40, but you still buy it and impress the other person. Same thing with taking a restaurant. But I think even more important is that every day is a Mother's Day. Every day is a Valentine. Wouldn't it be nice? Every day you look at your husband, you look as if he's your what? Your lover. Yes, your boyfriend. You know, every day you look at your husband, you treat him as if he is your boyfriend, even though he looks a little bit more chubby or grayer, darker, not as handsome as before. Same with, gentlemen, the husband. When you see your wife every day, you should treat her as if she is your... No response. Girlfriend. Yeah, you should treat her as if she's your girlfriend. She's still that beautiful lady who you have adored and admired, years ago. Nothing has changed, right? Instead of seeing her, well, the body has gone out of shape, a little bit more wrinkles, not as nice as, years ago. But every day is a Valentine, every day is a Mother's Day. Especially the day when we were born is actually the day where our mother actually suffered quite a lot. If not for modern medicine, if not for modern hospital facilities, I think every woman would have to face the most dangerous day of her life during birth. So we always measure the infant mortality, okay, as a measurement, as a risk, for the mother. And we all kind of, even those of us who have never given birth before, we can imagine how painful it could be. Now, when I cut myself with a piece of, accidentally slit myself with a piece of paper, we got this paper cut on our fingers. Is it painful? It's quite painful, isn't it? It was just a slit. Can you imagine, the baby's head going through what kind of space? How big the space the baby has to go through? From the little slit, it has to expand, I don't know, 100 times. I can imagine the pain, okay, that a woman has to endure. And it's not like, a baby would be be born in such a nice way that, oh, it's time, come out, boop, then it comes out. Most of the time, a woman has to go through hours of pain, of contractions, and in the room, she will always be asked to, push, and push. You can't say, I don't have any more strength to push. It's just like one of our teachers from Penang. She had 2 difficult births. The first birth was the son, I believe. When the son was about to come out, the shoulder wound turned. Actually, they can see the head already, but the shoulder did not turn. So her gynecologist, who believes in natural birth, something actually quite real nowadays. Women, maybe they cannot stand the pain, so most of them opt for cesarean. But my friend's gynecologist, he believes in natural birth. So he was delivering the baby. So he asked her, can you hold on? Can you hold on for a few more minutes? She said, okay, I'll try. And then she pushed and pushed, but she has to like keep on doing that. But she said she almost fainted because the pain was just unendurable. So as she pushed, finally the baby's shoulder turned and it came out. Right? So after this episode, his mother came and see her. And the minute my friend saw her mother, she cried. So the mother asked her, hey, you silly girl. You're always a girl in front of your mother. You silly girl, 你哭什么? Why are you crying? And she said, Mother, I am sorry. Why you say sorry? Mother, I'm sorry because I did not know what you went through. Now I understand. Now I know. Okay, it was through that particular birth. But all the mother said was, you silly girl, look, you are all cold. You're cold all over. Your hands are cold, your feet are cold. Come on, cover yourself. All she did was put out the blanket and cover my friend. You know, mother, as soon as they deliver, they forgot the pain, isn't it? So what was the first thing you thought about when the baby came out? Is he healthy? The first thing that comes to your mind is he healthy? Okay. And when the nurse or the doctor or your relative told you that, yes, the baby is healthy, how do you feel? The 10 months load off your shoulder. Okay. Except when it's the 4th baby and it happened to be a girl again. And there are some pressure on some women, okay, who needs to have a son. Right? Now, mother never asked, it was so painful. I would never do it again. You know, that was the first thought they had. The first thought they had was always, thank goodness, my baby is safe. My baby is okay. I'm the 9th child. When I was born, didn't have hair, and I have short fingers. So my mother saw me, and the first thing she did was she uncovered the little blanket that was so covering me, and she said, thanks God, she has toes. She was so worried that, with short fingers, no hair, I may not have toes. So the first thing, that was the only thing she worried about. She forgot totally about the pain and the blood a woman has to lose during childbirth. And I had a classmate who was a practicing doctor in UM years ago. And they had to witness how babies were delivered. And there was a little window they can sort of look into. And when the baby was born and lots of blood came out, and there are certain, I think, pockets, the uterus bag or something that just fell. And of all the interns who was witnessing this, our classmate was a boy. Well, he was only like 20 years old, 21 years old. He fainted. The girls didn't faint, but he fainted. He said, oh my God, don't. You got to be quite brave to, witness that kind of blood, came out from a human body. So as my friend, the same thing was, she never thought about the pain, how painful it was. She completely forgot about it. And when her husband came in, and she said, suddenly the room felt different. She said the room felt like very full of fragrance, 很香啊. 为什么很香呢？ Because she has been admitted hospital for, because it was a difficult birth, she has to put in under observation. So she was in hospital for about a week, and nobody washed the socks of her husband. Husband was a very busy man, and he was wearing the same sock when he went into the maternity ward. So she said the smell was actually from the socks of her husband. And her husband came in, and first thing she did was touch her toes, her legs, and he felt her legs was very cold. So he took off his smelling socks and put on his wife's feet. My friend told me, she said, that was the warmest feeling I ever had. Such a tender, romantic husband. Okay? Instead of, if it was you would start scolding him, right? Why didn't you wash your socks? No. See, my friend was a wonderful lady. She was a wonderful lady. She said, 哎呀，太感恩，谢谢你先生，谢谢，太感恩了，你还觉得我的腳冷，知道我腳好冷，俾我着一個襪。So, and her husband was very, no, don't say that. Because of you, I have, a son. So I really thank you. 真的非常感恩你，非常谢谢你哦。So no matter how grumble our mother may be, no matter how maybe not understanding we may think our mother may be, just think about the day when she delivered us. She had to go through a lot of danger, and she had to go through a lot of aggravations prior to the delivery, and all the fear that a woman has to go through. There's a lot of fear that went through a woman's mind. So for that, we are very appreciative of the mother. Here I would like to show you a clip. It's a rhapsody about mother, a mother's song. How a mother in one single day, she had to tell us 100 things which we all contract into maybe less than 2 minutes. Right? Now, I'll show you the clip. Right? The light.
Get up now, get up out of bed. Wash your face, brush teeth, comb, sleepy head. Here's your clothes and your shoes, hear the words I said. Get up now, get up and make your bed. Are you hot, are you cold, are you wearing that? Where's your books and your lunch and your homework? Get grab your coat and your gloves and your scarf and hat. Don't forget, you gotta feed the cat. Each breakfast is worth tell us it's the most important meal of all. Take vitamins so you will grow up one day to be big and tall. Please remember the orthodontist will be seeing you at 3 today. Don't forget your piano lesson is this afternoon, so you must play. Don't shuffle too slowly, but hurry. The bus is here, be careful. Come back here. Didn't you wash behind your ears? Play aside, don't play rough. Would you just play fair? Be polite, make a friend. Don't forget to share. Working out each turn, never take them down. Get along. Don't make me come down there. Clean your room, wash your clothes, put your stuff away. Make your bed, do it now. Do we have all day? Were you born in a barn? Would you like some hay? Can you even hear a word I say? Answer the phone, get off the phone. Don't sit so close, turn it down. No texting at the table. No more computer time tonight. Your iPod's my iPod. If you don't listen up, where you going in with whom and what time do you think you're coming home? Say thank you, please, excuse me, makes you welcome everywhere you roam. You'll appreciate my wisdom someday when you're older and you're grown. Can't wait to have a couple little children of your own. You'll thank me for the counsel I gave you so willingly, but right now I'll thank you not to roll your eyes at me. Close your mouth when you chew, would appreciate. Take a bite, maybe two, with the stuff you hate. Use your fork, do not burp, or I'll set you straight. Eat the food I put upon your plate. Get an egg at the door, don't start with me. Get a grip, get it here, I'll count to 3. Get a job, get a life, get a PhD, get a dose. I don't care who started it, you're grounded until you're 36. Get your story straight and tell the truth for once, for heaven's sake. And if all your friends jumped off a cliff, would you jump too? If I said it once, I've said at least 1,000 times before that you're too old to act this way. It must be your father's DNA. Look at me when I am talking, stand
I'm sure you do, isn't it? Huh? Okay. Now you see, the mother has to go through this every single day, thinking this you must do, you must do, you must do. From from getting up, brush your teeth, wash your face, go to the bath, no computer, I say so, you bad friends or whatever. She has to go through it every day. That's why, a mother's voice tends to become bigger after they, right? Since they become a mother. Why? Because they have to shout and yell all the time. Before they got married, they were very tender. They would speak very softly. After they get married, they said, "Ah!" So please, husband, okay, understand this phenomena. Now, what about the husband? Shouldn't we have a song for husband as well? No, you don't think so? Okay, let's watch this. I mean, to be fair, we are equal, gender equality. We have a mother's song. We must have a father's song. Okay.
And one of the reasons that we've gotten to be on television a little bit more this year is because of that little video that you might have seen, Mom Sense thing. A lot of people saw it and got a lot of attention, and that's why I think you should really put your heart and soul into it and do things the best you can when you do them. Because if I had known that that video was going to be seen by 15 million people, I would have sung that a lot better. I was just messing around. I didn't mean it, So we got a lot of email from that. Mothers from all over this country and quite frankly around the world. It's been translated. If you go on YouTube and you look, it's got like in Chinese subtitles and Spanish, and there's a lady standing in front of it doing it for deaf in ASL. It's really cool. But we got other mail, by the way, from a lot of guys who said to us, well, what about the dads? No. Really, seriously, guys are like, well, we talk to our kids too. I'm like, yeah. They said, we'd like equal time. I think, frankly, the guys are feeling a little disenfranchised, a little dejected and left out. And so, yeah. How quickly you turn on me. Anyway, no, but we thought, okay, so maybe we should convene like some focus groups and get people together, and because we wanted to be fair about it. And so we got people together and tried to take down what it is the guys say during a day and to their children. And we got, a list. And though I feel vastly underqualified to present this in attempts at fairness and equal time, I would like for you to listen to this. It is what it is. This is Dad Sense. Here we go. Ask your mom, ta-da! Thank you. I'm glad you feel the same way.
Very true, isn't it? So the mother will be, screaming on top of her lungs 100 things a day, and the dad said, ask your mom, ta-da. So, guys, to be fair, you have to take your share as well, put in your advice and your teaching to your children. No, don't just leave it to the mom. Right? So yes, Mother's Day, we thank for our mother in memory of their great contribution. And 亲有过见死更啊，然后亲憎我效方贤。Even though my parents do not love me, I will still love them. That is truly noble. There was a student of Confucius called 闵子骞. We classify Confucius students into various categories, and 闵子骞was known for his filial piety, his filial behavior. When his mother passed away when he was a very young boy, his father remarried. But the stepmother was not very good to 闵子骞. He has two step brothers, and the mother would always take care of the step brothers first. So in one winter, her mother makes some winter coats for them, but she only had enough cottons for the two step brothers. So she put the reeds, you know, the 草啊，芦花草. She put the reeds inside 闵子骞's jacket, and the reeds cannot keep him warm. Right? But he did not tell his father or tell anybody. So when his father came back from a business trip, he wanted to go. Father wanted to go out to run an errand. So he asked 闵子骞to give him a ride to the town. So 闵子骞was holding the reins of the horses, but his hands became colder and colder. 越来越冷哈. So until his hands got so freezed that he couldn't hold on to the reins. It means the two strings, two ropes that were riding in the horses. So he kind of like had a jerk, almost let go of the horse. So the horse suddenly jerked, and the whole carriage came to a stop. So the father was very angry. You know, the father thought, how come you drive like that? Or just like, you know, how we see a crazy driver, and we say, how can you drive like that? And his father held up a whip, right? And suddenly, you know, a whip, you know, at 闵子骞. And the whip landed on his sleeves, and it broke the jacket. And then the reeds flew out. Then the father realized that, hey, this is not cotton, it's reed. His son would never be warm in this jacket. So, and he knew who made the jacket. So he told his son, let's go home now. Okay, I got to find these things out. So he went home, he interrogated the mother, he asked the mother, why did you do that? How could you do that to my son? Okay. Such a woman like you is not worth being my wife. I'm going to have to ask you to go. In today's term means get a divorce. Now, what would you do at this time if you were 闵子骞? Would you clap your hands? Finally, the truth has come out, right? We always feel that, you know, the people who accuse us, who are bad to us, hopefully one day, you know, justice will prevail, and then I will come out as the noble person. And one day we call it what? 水落石出啊. That means the truth will finally come out. But instead of this, 闵子骞knelt down, 他跪下去, and he said to his father, Father, if mother stays, only 子骞 will get cold. But if mother leaves, all three of us will become cold. So Dad, please let mother stay. 母在一子寒，母去啊三子丹啊。All three sons will suffer because we don't have a mother. Now, because of this, he actually did three things. Number one, he saved the marriage, which because he saved the marriage, he also saved, 3 brothers, do not have to go through the life without a mother. And he also saved his mother, because a divorced woman at that time would not get a good reception by the society. Okay? And then finally, what he had done is he kept the family together. Because of that, it touched the heart of his stepmother. His stepmother was very touched by Ming Ziqian and felt really regretful for what she did. 我这样对你，你怎么还会这样对我？ Instead of clapping hands, you have asked your father to forgive me. 你还请你的父亲来原谅我。 So was touched. Because of that, 一跪啊，他做了3件好事情。This is a very good example of 亲生我，孝方显。 Even though his mother and his stepmother treated him so poorly, he still had no grudges against her. Right? So this is a good example that no matter how bad somebody may treat us, if you perceive as treating us, do not hold any grudges against them. Right? And lastly, it says, when our parent is ill, we should take care of them. Be by their side and don't let them alone. And even taste the medicine. 親有疾藥先嘗. Now, what do you mean by 親有疾藥先嘗? It actually expresses the kind of care we have for our parents. Our parents will have to take medicine, so we have to pay a little bit of attention the kind of medicine that they take. Make sure they take the medicine when it is the right medicine. Right? Now, in the olden days, the medicine was herbal medicine. They boil the medicine. So at that time, boiling medicine is called 熬药, not 包药. The 熬 and 包, there's a difference, right? 熬 means you brew it. Okay, you brew it slowly. You brew the herbs. 那它怎么熬药呢？ Use charcoal fire. You have to control the temperature of the fire. And then you have to open it up and look at the medicine. Right? Now, as a filial son or daughter do that, they are actually generating love into the medicine. It will turn into an energy. Because of this filial, love and care, it actually will increase the energy of the herbs. So the parents or the sick person would actually recover, much faster. 非常用心的去煲这包药。But nowadays we call it boil medicine. What would boil medicine? 1 bowl of herbs, put in 3 bowls of water. 1碗水1碗藥到3碗水 and then you switch on the gas and leave. And then until you smell, hey, something is burning. So go in there, why did it dry up so quickly? So you add water in there, and then, still medicine, right? And then you give it to, your parents. That's called accidentally kind of like, ruin the medicine, right? No, if you are really caring, you look at the medicine very carefully and attentively instead of boil it. And also you boil, basically you boil until it boil up to over 100 degrees and then, 的可以吃了. And you let that person eat it, right? So 以前的是熬药，现在是包药。那熬了的药呢，还要怎么样？看它热不热。Now when you give it to your parents, if it's the temperature is very hot, you don't just give it to your parents like that. And you actually go do spoon by spoon. Okay, spoon. That taste medicine. Then give to her. Not now. 飲啊！仲快啲飲，咁熱點飲啊？飲啊！係。 So it was a tender, loving heart that actually can help a patient to recover fast. It's the care that you show. It means in the care you show. It doesn't mean that if your mother is taking a prescription, a prescribed drug, you take the prescribed drug. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that you have very attentive to the kind of medicine that your sick parents are taking. Okay? 昼夜侍不离床 simply means that pay attention to them. Don't let them be alone. Okay? And we also mentioned that if during the 清明节, the 通识兵 festival, about if our parents unfortunately they passed away, we should always remember them fondly and think about the things that they have taught us, what they wanted us to be, and we try to fulfill what they have taught us, and especially to be a good man and good woman who can have happiness for ourselves and for others. There was an emperor who set a very good example of this, who was Han Wen-di. Han, because he was from the Han dynasty, and his title is called Wen. Di is the emperor. Right? So Han Wen-di. Han Wen-di's mother is called Bo Ji. Bo Ji. And if you go to China visit, there are some monuments we call Bo Fu Ren. Bo Fu Ren 就是汉文帝的妈妈。Now there were many consorts, queens, emperors, but why, do we commemorate Bo Fu Ren? We must understand at that point there were an internal imperial struggle within the court. And at that time, Bo Fu Ren was not the empress. She was not the queen. She was just a consort. And Han Wen-di was not the crown prince. And there was what we call a rebellion at the frontiers. And it was being conquered. And Liu Bang asked everybody, who should I assign to protect the frontiers? And they all say Liu Huan, who was Han Wen-di's name before that, Liu Huan. So why Liu Huan? Now, if you were a prince or a consort of the court, would you like to be sent to a foreign land in a remote area with very little facilities? You won't go, right? But as soon as Bo Fu Ren heard that, he said, it's splendid. I will take my son with me and go to that foreign land, to the frontier, the barren frontier. Right? Now, why would she do that? Because she knew at that time there was a lot of internal struggles for power, okay? Especially when Liu Bang passed away, this power struggle escalated. There were the relatives of Li Hou, or another character, and she was a very cruel person. She did horrible things to the former consorts of Liu Bang and treated her in a horrible manner, which I don't think you need to know. And Bo Fu Ren knew about this before this happened. So she said that to protect her son, take her son away from this struggle, this madness. And they went out there. And when the internal palace struggles, power struggle is over, they were thinking, now who can we, make into the next emperor? Then they remember Liu Huan. So they invited them back to the palace, and he became the next Han emperor, 就是汉文帝. If at that time his mother decided to stay in the palace and enjoy the luxury, okay, she would have been killed and her son would have been killed too, because Liu Ho's tactic was very cruel. Okay. Her tactic was so cruel that one of her own son was scared to become madness, because he witnessed the things that she did, and he couldn't get over it. Okay. So they came back safely, all because Bo Ho knew that you must run, you must retreat, when you see things are so messy. Right? So because of that, Han Wen Di was very appreciative of his mother. So when his mother was sick, he would be beside his mother, still donning his emperor robe, but make sure his mother's medicine, is well, that he would taste it, okay, and then only give the medicine to his mother. So even being an emperor, he was a very filial son. And his mother would always teach him, to be humble, to think for the people. So he was one of the Han emperor who was very thrifty. With all the power he had, all the money he had, he did not build big palaces, have lots of consorts and imperial women, and he did not, spend lavishly. All because of his mother. Right? So they say, if we have a sagely mother at home, there will be saints and sages in your family. So saint and sages come from sagely mother. Right? But don't worry, don't have pressure, okay? No pressure here. Because I have seen lately a mother who wanted to be the mother of a saint, and his boy is only, a very young age, not even 4 years old, and she's giving herself all kinds of pressure. Because, for instance, she doesn't want her little boy to see all these, supermarket, or watch all these people going by, or see you wearing shirts like this, you are not proper, and so on. Okay, so she's giving herself a lot of pressure. And I even have teachers who told me there are a lot of young mothers who are depressed. Why are there a lot of young mothers who are depressed? Especially they are the ones who have learned 弟子规. They became depressed after they learned 弟子规 because they felt that they could not fulfill the conditions. 做不到的很难啊，很难做圣贤啊。I mean, you talk about it being so high. Okay, so how could I fulfill it? When I stand, I had to 立要正，坐要正，讲话要正，什么都要正。I cannot fulfill all these criteria. It's just too difficult. So don't get depressed. Okay, and when we said. If you have a relationship and it's very difficult, so don't go and take this 弟子规 and has a mirror on the wall. Who is the evil? Who is the most evil of them all? No, you don't take this 弟子规 and go and mirror other people. Who do you mirror? You mirror yourself. So how do we build up this self? We always talk about this self thing. What is this self? 什么叫 everything begins with this self? Right? Now let's think about this self. Right? When we say self, we can talk with self. Okay, now you think about yourself. I want you to write down 3 things about yourself. We have paper. 3 things about yourself. I'll give you 1 minute. Why 1 minute? Because don't analyze too much. As I told you many times before, if you analyze, that is not your true self. There is 3 things that immediately come to your mind about yourself. When you say, I describe myself as what? I am what? Okay. What's that from, this gentleman?
Hardworking, persistent, trustworthy.
Okay, hardworking, persistent, trustworthy. Okay, good. Would you write down?
Loyal, trustworthy, respectful.
Loyal, trustworthy, respectful. Okay, what would you write down?
Organized, impatient,
organized, impatient, caring. Okay, good.
Humble, confident, responsible.
Okay, humble, responsible, confident. Okay, confident, humble, responsible. Okay.
Yes, with thanks.
Yes.
这些都有待改进的人，要遇到挫折才能改，才能进步。然后第三是随遇而安，简单就好。
Okay, keep it simple, and you would like to change if you are not right in any way. Okay, good. Yes, the gentleman over there. What did you write about yourself?
Humble, forgiving, and respectful.
Humble, forgiving, and respectful. Okay. Yes, and you?
有一份心直口快，不顾细心，
Okay, responsible, maybe a little bit careless. What is the other one? Responsible. Okay, Jen? Impatient. Get agitated fast. Understanding. Okay. Enjoy talking to people. Helping people. Get jealous easily.
Not firm with my words.
Not firm with your words.
To my kids.
Okay, not consistent. Okay, consistent. You're good. You?
lazy,
They're lazy.
responsible, kind.
Okay, other than lazy, all the others are good. Responsible, kind. Okay, and yes. 可以。Responsible. Love the family. 善听。开心。善心。Kind. Oh, kind. Okay, yeah. Responsible, kind, and caring for the family. Okay, good.
I am caring, honest, and responsible man.
Caring, honest, and responsible. You married the right man. Okay, and
不够容忍、宽容，容易压力，因为孩子的工作。但是爱家，喜欢帮助人。
okay, not very caring. Not patient enough, get pressure because of the children, but you still take care of your family and you like to help other people. Yes.
Love to help.
Love to help.
Love to others. Like to see people's fault also.
Like to see other people's fault also. Okay.
Sometimes like to get angry.
Very easily get angry, okay. Right.
Thrifty.
Thrifty. Kind.
Demanding.
Demanding. And hardworking. Okay, you're good mixed. And yes, you?
Patience.
Impatient.
Easily get angry.
Easily get angry. Responsible. Okay. At least we got a responsible group of people here. Okay, yes.
Patient, not gentle, but love children a lot, and try my best to be a good mother, and always want to get the best of the children.
Okay, maybe a bit impatient, but you're still thinking for the best of the children. Okay, you still want to help them. Okay, even though it's a bit impatient. Okay. Yes, the last one.
Impatient, which I'm trying to improve in this area. Responsible, without stay healthy, stay healthy.
Okay, impatient, but try to stay healthy for the sake of the family. Okay, it's very important, healthy in terms of mental health as well as physical health. Okay, now I find a commonality about this. Some people will think all the good things about himself or herself. Some people will think about all the bad things about himself. Now, when I say himself, I will include herself. Okay, so don't worry. I'm not excluding the women, because if I keep on saying himself, herself, his and her, it got a little bit troublesome, okay? So I belong to the old school, it's gender neutral, okay? There are some people who think all the good things about himself, okay? This person is called a narcissist. Narcissist means this person loves himself. 自恋的. Narcissism means 自恋狂. It's called person narcissist is narcissism. That means other than himself, he doesn't look up to anybody else. Right? And the opposite of this is a person who feels inferior. Okay, that's called inferior complex. Okay, inferior complex means he doesn't think anything good about himself. He always feels bad about himself. Okay, so we call it the negative traits. Okay. Now, why is it called narcissist? It actually came from a legend, a Greek legend, you know, the Narcissus, and he was one of the gods, and he likes to look at himself in the reflection on the pond. He said, "Oh, look, this is the most perfect man in the world. Nobody can be as perfect as he is." He was looking at himself in the lake. Okay, the reflection was himself, and he said, I could not love anybody else but this person. You know, he is so perfect. He is so perfect that until he dropped in there and he drowned. So yeah, it's if you always think about you are right, you know, you may not know that you're actually a narcissist. You always think you are right. And why do we get impatient? We get impatient because we think we are right. But in fact, we may not be right at all. Okay, or at least we have not heard enough. So we need to be patient and let the other person finish the story first. Okay? And as we said, well, narcissists always think about himself. What about a person who have inferior complex? Now, if you always feel that you do not have the confidence, you always feel that you are wrong, because you don't have confidence, you also feel that the other person is wrong, because you don't have the confidence about what is right and what is wrong. Now, a person who is tend towards jealousy is perhaps you don't have confidence about yourself. Now, if you have confidence about yourself, you don't need to get jealous. Now, when you see your husband talking to another beautiful lady, do you feel jealous? No? Really? Thank goodness, only one person doing this. Now, more a little bit, you will. But if you have confidence about yourself, you don't need to get jealous, because what? You are good enough, and you know that your husband, you know, you can be, a very good partner for him, and there's no need for you to become in confidence about yourself. So what is this self? Okay, the more confidence you have yourself. Now, having confidence about yourself is different from being a narcissist. A narcissist is one who loves himself without justification. He just feels that he or she is better than anybody in the world. Whereas a person who is confident knows that there are people who are better than him, but he can stand on his ground. Okay, he doesn't need to be worried, to be fearful. And in order to do that, there are certain tricks that we need to have. How to be a confident person. How can we be a confident? Hey, Robin seems to be a very confident young man. Okay? Why do you think we will have confidence about ourselves?
We just think positive.
Think positive.
Positive angle.
So look at the positive angles, okay? But how do we look at positive angles? There is no positive angles I can look at. we have heard a wife, when she heard the teacher child lecturing about, you have to be understanding towards your husband and look at the good points about your husband. And she stood up and said, 没有好处. There is nothing good about my husband. So teacher Chai say, 哇，我很佩服你，没有好处你都嫁他。So 为没有好处你都会嫁他呢？是吗？ But there has to be something good about this man whom you have appreciated, then only you marry him. So how do we stay positive? We have to stay positive what? By actually looking back at the truth of things, what we call the trust. Okay, why you stop trusting this man? Okay? Now, this is a true story. Okay, I counsel one lady. She was very upset. She came and see me. She said, my husband behaved like a log, L-O-G, like a piece of wood, like a block of wood. 好像都一块板这样，她说，很古板的 ，like a log because he doesn't like to talk to my relatives. He doesn't like to talk to people. Now he is very, very quiet. I'm fed up with him already. And some more, he said he wants to be the head of the family. What do you mean by he is the head of the family? I also bring back a lot of money into the family. So I am also the head of the family. How could he say, he claimed that he is the head of the family? Right? So he was very upset for a very quiet, behaving husband. So I asked her, why did you marry him, 15 years ago, because your daughter is 15 years old already. 15 years ago, what did you see in him? She said, I like his honesty. He was a very honest man. He did not talk a lot. He was a very quiet man. So what have changed? Nothing have changed, right? He was still the same man as 15 years ago. So who had changed? She changed. She wanted something else. But the husband cannot keep up with it. He cannot keep up with it. It's just that she changed. She wanted a more lively. As we saw more movies or maybe saw more examples, we like to have, I don't know, what kind of movie star would you like to have as a husband? When we saw, I think I'm one of the very few people in the world who have not seen the Titanic. How many of you have seen the Titanic, the movie? Can you raise your hand? Those of you all of you have watched the movie Titanic, right? So, Mr. Lee, have you watched the Titanic? No? Okay. You watched Titanic, yeah? Did you watch the Titanic? You did, right? So Mr. Lee and I were the only poor souls in the world who have not watched the Titanic. Right? And I have heard so many people telling me that scene where I think the lead actress stood at the front of the ship. And she did this, right? Yes. And what happened? And the other actor, what? And so hugged her at the back, and all of you went what? The nice music came out, right? Now, you must have wished you were that lady, and that man was what? Maybe not your husband, but you would like to have a man like that. Okay, so, these things give ideas to us. And meanwhile, your husband is still the piece of block of wood, who will not change, who did not watch Jesus, because he watched different things, right? He was having different thoughts. Maybe he wanted another image, which you don't like to watch those images, okay? So it's a different things for guys and different things for maybe ladies, okay? So in fact, her husband did not change. She herself wanted a little bit more. She wanted a lively, a funnier man, okay? So as I talked to her, she started to realize that, actually, she was the one who actually had more expectations than what was before, okay? So one of the things that we have to be positive is that you have to see through to the things, which means that trust is very important. So today we are living in a very low trust, social context, what we call the low trust. And as it deteriorates, it will become no trust. And what low trust and no trust will lead to is suspicion. We become suspicious. We become suspicious of almost everything, right? But if we can turn this around to trustworthiness, then we will have confidence. So confidence in ourselves actually comes from a trust that I can do it, a trust that I can promise. I can fulfill my promises to other people and promises to myself. What have I promised to myself? I promised myself not to be lazy, and I deliver. I promised myself to be trustworthy, and I deliver. I've never broken my promise, and I have fulfilled my vow that I want to be patient. Now, a few of you have mentioned impatient. Right? If you can promise yourself that I will not be impatient, if you can fulfill this promise, you have credibility. You know why we have credit card? We don't have credit card. Who can own a credit card? Who can own a credit card? Credit card in China is called 信用卡, right? Credit card, right? 信用卡. That means 你有信用才可以用这个信用卡. That means those who have credit can use the credit card. That's what it means, credit card. Okay? But now, anybody can own a credit card. Okay? But the meaning of credit card means if you have the credit, you can return the money, then only you use it. It's called a credit card. So part of the being confident is that you have the credibility. 你有什么？你有信用。一个没有信用的人呢，是没有自信心的。If you don't have credit, if you don't have credibility, you will not have confidence. Why? Why did I say that? Because you cannot even trust yourself. How could you trust anybody? How could you have confidence on anybody or confidence in yourself? Because you can't even trust yourself. 你都会骗你自己，你哪里会有信心呢？ So a person who have credibility, who have confidence. Today, I can promise you, if you continue to study 弟子规, your life will become happier. That's because I have seen people transform themselves. I have seen myself transform myself. Therefore, I know that it is creditable. So as I say that, I could say that with full confidence. I did not say this to please you, and I did not say this to teach you, because I really believe in it, that it can bring happiness to anybody who are willing to really put their heart and soul into respect and sincerity. That's what this way is all about, respect and sincerity. But if you lie to yourself, if you lie to other people, you will not become confident. The confidence that you exude to the outsiders are just a facade. It's just a face. It's not real at all. This is what we call acting. For actors, they need to unwind themselves after they finish acting, because all the emotions that they pour out are fake. I remember my friend who was what we call an amateur opera singer. He was in New York. I went out to New York to watch this opera play, and I thought he was quite good. But before he went up there, he said, you must leave me alone for a few hours. He said, I need to 培养情绪. That means I have to brew my emotions. I have to let myself get into the role that I play. That means he has to let go of him, whatever true self he owned at that point, and make himself into the character that he was going to play in the opera. So after he's finished, and we all applauded, and he came down, he took off his makeup, and we went out for dinner. And he said, boy, I am still in that role. I am still not myself yet. 然后对不起，他说我的情绪还是很高。I am still a bit emotional. He cannot settle himself. Same like us as lecturer, if we are just acting on the stage, when we finish lecturing, we could not fall asleep. That is what happened in the initial stage. You know, we had to prepare all the wonderful slides, all the wonderful lectures, how to please you, how to make sure we hit your heart, impress you. You know, we could do all kinds of things, tell stories, acting, music, anything. But after all of you have gone, say bye-bye, good night, we have good dreams, sweet dreams. When I went back to my dorm, I couldn't have dreams. I couldn't sleep. Why? Because I was very high. I wasn't myself. I was just putting up an act. Okay? So if you are just acting, you always do not have confidence. So why would some people say that deep down inside myself, I'm very hollow? 我很空虚. A hollow person is different from a confident person. His hollowness comes from he does not have the credibility. He was lying to himself. He was cheating himself. 所以这个人是没有自信心的. So self comes from trustworthiness, comes from being credible. With this credibility, we extend this. We can draw the ripple effect. Let's say we start from this small circle and we extend it outward, right, to a bigger circle, to our relationship. Quite a few of you have mentioned, I love my family. Okay, I care for my family. Although I am impatient, I easily get angry, but I do care about my family and my children. Yes, with this confidence, with this credibility, we can build a much better relationship because you can be trustworthy. And trustworthy comes from little things that you promise your children. I think one of you said that I'm not firm with my words. You have to be very firm with your words. Okay? Anything that you promise, do not treat it lightly. That's why in chapter 4, there are a lot of this advice about do not make promise lightly. A promise that is made lightly will not be carried out. So I remember one of my students, he was only 10 years old at that time. He wrote down in his journal, he said, I was very upset with my parents because they promised me to go and buy the Mexican bun, but they didn't. 带我要去买墨西哥面包，结果没有。It seems like a very small thing, isn't it? Just forget to go to the bakery and buy the Mexican bun. But this little boy remembered it and wrote it down in his journal. So it starts from when you start, kind of like forgetting all these little promises, then as your little kid accumulated all these broken promises, one day he will total it up plus all the interest and get back at you. And here you owe me. That's what we call the rebellion, the stage. And the promises that come from a parent, it mean a lot to these children. I always love this story about an earthquake that happened in Albania in the 80s. And what happened was there was this, I don't know if you remember or not, there was a big earthquake that happened in Albania that killed a lot of people. And at that time, this father, his son was in one of the schools that was completely, fallen and became rubbles. That means nothing was left. And his son was trapped underground. So when he got the news, he rushed there and he roughly kind of figured out the classroom, where the classroom was. So he started digging. He didn't have any tools because at that time most people would have left because they have given up, digging for any survivals. And he went and dig with his hands. Because no matter what happened, I must find my son. Right? And he remembers the promise that he made to his son almost on a daily basis. Son, no matter what happened, I will always be there. He remembered this. And something has happened to my son. I must be there. So he went there and started digging with his hands. And there were people who came and said, oh, come on, you have to give up. There's no way we can find any survivors here. He said, no. I promised my son, no matter what happened, I'll be there. I know he'll be waiting for me. So he touched the hearts of those people, and they started, taking tools and started to help him to dig into the ground. And as they dig and dig and dig, then suddenly they heard this. Dad, is that you? Is that you? I knew it was you because you have always told me no matter what happened, you will be there. So he said, oh my God, that's my son. So they kept on digging and digging and digging and digging and digging. Then finally, it was truly his son. And his son told the other class, please go up first. I know that's my dad. I know that's my dad. So all his friends went up. And then the minute he came out, he told his dad, Dad, I know it's you. Because you have told me no matter what happened, you'll be there. So you have to give your children this confidence, no matter what happened, you'll be there. That you will be there to make sure things are all right. Right? And this comes from a father who doesn't simply make promises. Right? So we make a lot of little promises which we forgot. Okay? And these little promises will become bigger and bigger. And then our children will also start breaking their promises. Because my father do it, my mother do it, why not I do it? But maybe we think that if we do it, it's okay, but when they do it, it's not okay. So there's a Chinese saying that goes, if you can forgive others like the way you can forgive yourself, there will be peace and harmony in the world. Okay. We kept telling children, how many times I told you this? Huh? Why don't you pick after yourself? Clean up your rooms. How many times I've told you this? And as we say that, we do these things, right? Put the hands on the side, and then start this, and then let's go, right? And then if I ask you, have you become more patient? Have you become more patient? And you say, no, slowly lah,慢慢来. So you can 慢慢来. How come your children cannot 慢慢来呢? It's different because you say, teacher, 3 years old will decide what he's like at 80 years old. 7 years old, he will decide what his whole life will. Therefore, I cannot wait. He must change now. Whereas I already 35. What can I do? Let me go slowly lah. You don't force me lah. I become mental depressed, You cannot. You have to change also. Because as you change, with more confidence in yourself, you fulfill the trust factor. Your relationship, not only with your family, but with your in-laws and your work with workers, with your friends, everybody will change. And so as your relationship change, you extend it even more forward, you go to your company, or we call the organization that we associate with. Okay, become a bigger circle. company that we work in, the school that we work in, okay, the social contact that we work in. So we come into what? The marketplace. The marketplace means supply and demand, where they exchange, where we work. People know our name. Okay, people do business with us because we have a good reputation, because we have credibility. And lastly, the contribution we can make to the society. Okay, which is a bigger contribution. It's not just self anymore. From an individual who extend to the whole world. So from this credibility, we move on to a human relationship, which what we call the 五伦关系, which we always talk about the 五伦. Okay, in our conduct. 五伦, 五常, the 5 human relationship, okay, the 5 virtues. And then if it's an organization, we know the order of things. And with here, we build up a reputation. Reputation for your work, reputation for your family, the name for your family. And last is the contribution. So, 一个是自己，一个是关系。我们这个团体，一个市场，一个社会。Now, why is market in there? Because we are pretty much entwined in an economic entity. Now, today we live in a society which is embraced by economic activity. We cannot live apart from it. Right? So that's why it was included in the India head market. And it was based on Stephen Covey's son talk on trust, because he realized that the trust factor is so low in our society. It actually, make relationship difficult because we don't trust. We do not trust our children, and our children do not trust us. How many of you trust your children? We cannot trust them, right? And how many children trust you? You also don't know, don't dare to ask, right? Okay, so it's very low trust point. We don't trust the children, and the children don't trust us. But how do we know that we can trust the children? And how do we know that they trust us? It has to start from yourself. Because if you do not trust yourself, you cannot trust anybody else. So if you have decided you want to do something that is good for you, like for instance, you have not called your mom for a long time, when should you call? Another week? Another month? When should you call? Right away. Okay, right away, okay? Now, when you see your son, okay, came back late, and you don't want to know what happened, You just feel like scolding him. What should you do? Your instinct is 你又迟到了. That is your instinct because he has been late quite often. So today he's late again. So your instinct is you want to scold him, you want to get angry. But if you move back 3 steps and you said, oh, you are late. Is there any problem with school? You start calming down yourself instead of like the old pattern, 你为什么迟到？你做错什么事情？ But instead you calm down and say, 哎，迟到了，吃了饭没有？ Instead of scolding, but change around and say something nice. Right? So you start from there with the little things, and every day as you change things that you want to change, what else do you think you want to change? What would you like to change about your behavior that you don't like? I know I'm impatient, I know I get angry very easily, but I don't want to change. That's what happened, right? But I ask you, you don't want to change it because, hey, I don't think getting angry so easily, I mean, it's so bad. What is so bad about being, temperamental? Because it's a big problem, okay? Do not get angry very easily. That is a big problem. And if you don't think, what change? I think I'm pretty good. I don't need to change. No, you need to change, right? So if you always get angry easily, you tell yourself, I'm not going to get angry easily. Now, if you can do that, you start building up your sensibility, right? Now, because someone, for instance, he is always fearful that somebody look down on him. So as soon as I said, I don't like to talk about people who think too high of himself, so full of himself, right away he said to me, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. I'm not like the person who is so full of myself. I'm very humble. So you are actually what? That shows that he was already sink into the fear that people were comparing him to an arrogant person. But in fact, I was talking to another person. Right? So with that, he has to change. He has to change into becoming more relaxed. Okay, more relaxed. Don't always be suspicious people are talking about him. Okay, not everybody likes to talk about him all the time. We don't think too high of ourselves. Right? So if you have something that you feel like you need to change, but I think one of the negative traits that I think you all have to strive towards is the impatient thing. Because I know all of you are very responsible. You all are very responsible. You're all very loving. You're very caring, except you are impatient. You get very angry easily. Yes.
So what if there's a disadvantage in this, in the sense that if you're too reliable, people take advantage?
If you are too reliable, people take advantage of you. For instance?
Like you are trustworthy, you're always on time, you will deliver, then people always have that expectation. People will not have expectation on others, they will just rely on you, expect you to do everything. It's like you're the only one, whereas other people is like, like before. Yes, they take for granted. Like they'll take advantage in the sense that they know you can do it, you go and do. They won't go and ask other people, but they'll ask you because you can deliver, you are trustworthy.
Isn't that a wonderful thing?
It's too much.
Okay, it's too much, right? I mean, you have to do everything. Other people don't have to do anything, right? Now, as for yourself, okay, it's not a bad thing. You'll be one of those people, you'll be amazed how capable you will become. You'll be amazed. You can tackle a lot more things than other people without you even knowing it, as long as you don't think you are being taken advantage of. But if you think you're being taken advantage of, that becomes very burdensome. Okay? Remember this principal said, he said, 我以前觉得人家一直说我们他说我都觉得我们很忙啊，很多东西做，老师啊、校长很多东西做。Being principal and teacher, we're always very busy marking the books, busy thinking about curriculum, busy about teaching students, always very busy. 他说为什么我们不转过来想一想，我们不是忙，我们是很伟大。偉大，我好偉大啊，唔係忙啊，好偉大啊 ，OK？ The minute he say I think like that， 我真係偉大啊 ，you know？ I don't feel so bad anymore.
Some people beside you will say you're very stupid. They got people that.
Okay. There are people who say you are stupid, right? Actually, those people who say that are they themselves very foolish, right? Because if you take advantage of people, eventually you are the one who will be taken advantage of without them knowing it. What comes around comes around. But those people who are being taken advantage of, good things will come to them. Okay. But of course you have to weight it, okay? But let's think about the positive things first, okay? If it's your job, okay, and you are being given more tasks, you will try your best to deliver without complaint, okay? But if you deliver until the point that it affects your family, because you don't have time for them anymore, that's the time when you tell your boss or your colleagues who want you to help them and say, there are certain times I have to spend with my family, or at a certain time I have to do something. Okay, I cannot help you. But when I have the time, I sure will help you. Okay. And there are some people who look very aggressive, who would really do a lot of things, but they upset a lot of people, because others are not as capable as them. So you have to weigh that situation as well. But when I said you are being taken advantage of, or when you say you're being taken advantage of, you perceive that you have done more than other people, especially you are doing things that you should not be doing. That's the time when you perceive you're being taken advantage of. Right? But you have to realize that there are only so much things you can do. You only do so much thing you can do. As long as you really do it, other people can appreciate it. You don't have to kill yourself doing it. Then that becomes negative. But never think about being taken advantage of. 人家说吃亏是福. Because I would always appreciate the staff who give me a little bit extra. That I have asked the staff to do a little bit extra and they deliver. I appreciate them a lot. Okay, and whenever I have a project or whenever I have something in my mind of greater things, he or she will be the first person I think about. And when I want to groom a person, that person will be the first one I think about. 我会栽培他，因为我知道他愿意付出。So if you want to do greater things, if you learn more things, you want to be successful, don't worry about doing a bit more for others. There are a lot of stories about this, but we're about time is due. But don't worry about being taken advantage of. 就是说吃亏是福。你现在可能看不到啊，我们下个礼拜我在欧洲啊 ，by the way, I'll be in Europe next week, and next week will be the ceremony for paying respect to the parents. And when I came back from Europe, I will share a lot more things about this taken advantage of, because I seem to have been taken advantage of, but I learned a lot. So I'm very appreciative of the person who so-called taken advantage of me. And 就是说会笑死人，是不是？中文说笑死别人啊 ，that means they laugh until they die, right? Which is good for them because they laugh until they die. They die laughing. 所以笑死的是谁？笑死的是别人啊，不是你嘛？你不是让他笑咯，是吗？ Let them laugh because they will laugh until they die. They die laughing. Meanwhile, you still live happily, you are more capable, you are more understanding, you have the ability to solve more problems. So what's wrong? There's nothing wrong, because you can contribute a lot more to society. You see, all the 古人, the ancients, they can hold an office, they are parents, they write books, they do social works. Where did they get all the time from? They have all the time, to do all these wonderful things. So, yeah, let's learn from them, and we'll talk more about it when I get back, okay? Thank you very much. We'll see you 2 weeks from now. Thank you.